Looking to upgrade your home or office? Tired of being second when it comes to taste and style? Look no further than Signature Home Styles at signaturehomestyles.biz/age of radio. Signature Home Styles is America's online destination for home goods and decor, transforming millions of homes in the USA for over 50 years. Candles, coffee, florals, lighting, wall decor, and more. Signature Home Styles has thousands of unique products not found anywhere else. Don't forget to check out their famous Sparkle Glass. Sparkle Glass is an eye-catching LED glass cylinder only available at Signature Home Styles. Sparkle Glass can be purchased with seasonal or custom inserts, bringing astonishing brilliance to all rooms for any occasion. Don't settle for second-place home decor. Get the best at Signature Home Styles. Make sure to visit our Age of Radio partner page at signaturehomestyles.biz/age of radio. That's signaturehomestyles.biz/age of radio.
HomeSense opens a new world of opportunities when it comes to decorating, because you don't have to sacrifice quality for price. So you can get that solid marble cheese board from $29.99, or those Turkish cotton hand towels from $7.99, with plenty left over for that mug you had your eye on. Endless possibilities, perfectly priced, only at HomeSense.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble. Bumble is a dating and connections app that's all about helping you find what you're looking for, no matter what that is. Whether it's someone who loves to hate all the same things as you, someone who's down for that casual coffee to turn into an all-day date, or someone to be your plus one for all those upcoming plans. They're all on Bumble. Put it all out there and start finding that someone for today or forever. Download the Bumble app.
Age of Radio.
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Welcome, folks. Welcome to What Were They Thinking? A podcast about bad to questionable movies. And I think we're going to draw some ire with this one. But before
we didn't pick it, so
we didn't. It's the listener's choice. So I mean, but I feel that our quips and jabs at it might draw the ire of some folk. But before we get into that, I am your host, Nathan, and with me, as always, is the let me see. I wrote down all these names, so many to use. With me is the Stilf to my kale, Brendan. How you doing, buddy?
So we meet very briefly and barely get along, but ultimately we're on the same side.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, in fairness, we've only been in the same room like once in the last year or two.
True, and I still have the bruises to prove it.
Right. So, yes, this week we are talking about the, I guess, quasi-beloved of, 80s kids who grew up, who kind of went to university in the 90s.
I mean, not to jump the gun to one of the last things we do, but pretty 50-50.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it came out. And also, Nathan, this movie was a huge flop, box office-wise. It cost like $90 million to make and made like 34. So
Don Bluth.
Yeah.
This poor guy just can't catch a break.
But what is this movie that you're talking about, Nathan? Could it be Cowboys and Aliens? Could it be the Rainmaker?
No, again, beloved. Don Bluth. What are you talking about? Can't you? You could have at least said something like, I don't know, the Last Unicorn. I think that was one of his.
I'm just confusing my Matt Damon movies.
Oh, okay. No, I of course am talking. We are talking this week about Titan A.E. or Titan After Earth.
Mm.
which, as Brendan noted earlier before we started, that this makes this the best movie with the words "After Earth" in the title.
It
Technically,
has to be. It has to be in the top one of
it's the
those.
top one.
Because the other
So
one, I don't know, probably coming soon.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
it's
fair.
pretty fucking abysmal.
Okay,
Have you
this one
seen it?
here, I have not.
Oh,
I have
Nathan.
not seen it because of how just absolutely like it got trashed critically, and like even like critics and audience alike had no love for that, and I was like, I don't need to waste my time on that until I'm forced to.
Just imagine Will Smith, like Will Smith in a movie, and like even if he had nothing else going for him, he has his charisma because he's one of the most charismatic people on the planet. I would say.
Yeah, that's
Take that
fair.
charisma away, you have After Earth.
Wow.
They genuinely, intentionally make his character a stoic nothing,
Emotionless nothing. Okay.
and his son's in it with him. And his poor son was. I think we could say his poor son was basically forced into acting. I don't think he wanted to go with that. So I feel
His
bad for him, and at the same time, I'm like, oh, he's not good at it though.
he's only got like has he only got 2 credits? He's got this and he got
I
that and the
feel
Karate Kid,
I feel like he must
the
be
Kung
better in
Fu Kid,
Karate Kid. He
the Kung
must be
Fu
better.
Kid.
I'm just saying. I think he must be better in that movie, though. He has
I
to be.
found him fine in that. And
There
that
you go.
movie was just kind of there though. Like I like
Yeah.
Jackie Chan. I like the story beats because I mean obviously it's going to follow the Karate Kid, but I mean the title itself makes no sense considering Jackie Chan teaches him kung fu.
Well, they wanted that recognizable people to
Well, it's
see
weird
that
actually
movie and
because
remember the original.
outside of North America, it was called the Kung Fu Kid.
Yeah.
So the more you
Well,
know. But we're not
indeed.
talking about the Kung Fu Kid or the Karate Kid or the other After Earth movie. We're talking
No.
about Titan A.E. This movie came out in 2000.
Hmm.
It's got
Boy, did
Matt
it.
Damon. It sure did. It's got Matt Damon. It's got Bill Pullman. It's got Leguizamo. It's got Nathan Lane. It's got
Drew
Drew
Barrymore. It's got
Barrymore.
Janeane Garofalo.
Garofalo's in it, and Jim Brewer before he went nuts.
Yep.
Tone Loc.
Yep.
So and Ron Perlman.
And Ron Perlman briefly, yes.
Yeah. So the movie is set in the 31st century. The Earth is attacked by a alien race called the Dredge, not to be confused with the Drudge Report. They're attacked by the Dredge, and everybody
People
that can.
often confuse that alien race with the Drudge Report.
Well, I mean, everybody who can flee Earth flees Earth, and then we pick up 15 years later, where Kale, the son of a professor who was doing his best to save humanity or Earth life, I guess, for the lack of a better term, is I guess I don't want to say shanghaied or sworn on, hornswoggled or any other sort of racist wrestling names into doing a mission to find his father's work and ultimately defeat the Dredge and basically kickstart humanity again.
Yeah, they had to
Eh,
find the Titan because that'll allow them to, I guess, create a new Earth or something.
And hilarity ensues.
Yeehaw!
Yeah. Okay. So, like I
Do you
said,
remember? Did you see this movie when it came out?
not in theaters. I was going to school in Quebec at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and this was not one that got played at the Cinema Neuf in English. So I had to wait for this one to come out on DVD because I saw it on DVD. It was it looked super impressive on my PlayStation 2 on my CRT TV.
I was gonna
Spoiler alert, not as impressive looking now.
on an HD TV.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember vaguely this movie being announced because I think been younger when it came out, but I remember watching. I think I saw like part of a trailer or something. And I just remember looking at it and being like, I've never been less interested in seeing a movie. Like this, the style of animation. 'Cause I was young and dumb, and just the style of animation just made me go, "Ugh, that's so ugly." It should be cool, like Shrek or whatever was big at the time, Toy Story or something. I don't know, but yeah, like the old school quote unquote animation, the Don Bluth animation, really turned me away as a kid. And I actually, for most Don Bluth movies, I wasn't really into them because I was just like, it looks gross.
His style, I find his style of animation, I really like it. It's
I
I
like it
find it
now.
intriguing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's there's a certain fluidity with Don Bluth movies that isn't there with the Disney or even Warner Animation stuff. It's almost like he's using extra cells to make the character movement look more natural and fluid.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
agree. I think as an adult, I'm like, I understand that his animation was quite good. Maybe not all of his.
Facial expressions too. I mean, his stuff
Yeah.
for facial expressions is spot on.
Maybe not a flawless record in terms of film quality, but
No, no.
the animation's pretty good.
It's one of those things where you see his breadth of work and you're like, man, yeah. Yeah, and then you read up on the movies and like nobody went to see them. There's these
Yeah.
movies that get made that were great that get appreciated later. And it's like, dude could not catch a break in the moment, which is unfortunate.
But I mean, thank God now, Nathan, we have all these. It's much like The Room and all these great films. We have all these screening parties for a Troll in Central Park. It's really entering its second wave of fame. You see people walking down the street all the time with the shirts from the movie, the official Troll in Central Park shirts.
You had to pick that one, didn't you?
That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head that was like
Lord of the
maligned.
Rings. He did a version of
No.
Lord of the
But that's the only one I could think of at the top of my head that was like maligned at the time,
Oh, okay.
and still maligned.
Okay.
It's not a good movie, guys. Anyway,
Yeah.
this is another movie.
But yes, this is another movie, and we open with our hero as a young lad, Kale, and he's playing by the river. We find out he's living in Pierce, Colorado, in 3028. So none of this is ever going to be our problem.
No,
Everything we're about to describe, we don't have to worry about it. So you know what? Just keep living. Don't think about the future. That's future generations' problems.
the Earth heals itself. It's
That's
science.
right. Um. So right away, with all this, we get we get an exchange between Kale and his dad,
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman. Kale is not played by Matt Damon yet, but
No, he's played by
uh,
Alex D. Linz, the kid from Home Alone 3.
okay.
I looked that up because it said so and so as young Kale, and then I clicked on his name, and fucking Home Alone 3 popped into my screen like it was trying to attack me.
Oh well, I mean, it probably sensed that you watched Home Sweet Home Alone.
Oh God, I don't know which one's worse.
That's in your history though, so you're as soon as you look it up, they're like, oh, he watched that. He probably liked this.
Fucking algorithm, damn you, Don Cheadle.
So there's a nice little thing where they're father son moment, but then they gotta go, and this is where we get our first kind of glimpse as to what the animation in this movie is gonna look like, because um, Kale and his dad are all done in that very classic Don Bluth style, typical 2D animation, but they're riding around in vehicles that are CG rendered, and a lot of times in environments that are also CG rendered, which again, on a CRTV in 2000 on a PlayStation 2 DVD player looks kind of neat.
Hmm.
When you're watching it on a 55-inch screen in HD, it is off-putting.
Nathan just wanted to get his TV size in there.
Right. Because I mean, that's what everybody's interested in. They need to know that I have a huge picture box machine. TV, that's the word. TV,
No, I think
yeah.
no, you got it right. Picture box machine.
Picture box machine, yeah.
And
Normally, I just rev my truck so everyone knows I have a huge TV.
yeah, so everyone knows you have a tiny dick, right? So do we see? Because they're fleeing because there's like an alien invasion. Do we see the things at this point, or is that
We
later?
don't see the dredge at this point. We
Okay,
just know that
I'll save it then.
they're they're attacking.
Yeah.
I think you might get a glimpse of their ships, but you don't actually get a glimpse of the aliens.
Okay.
And so I mean, they're the father and son. They're trying to get away. We meet Tech, who is played by Tone Loc, who's in the movie for a cup of coffee, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to separate because the like Ron Perlman, his character, he's a professor and he's been charged with, again, helping to preserve humanity and all of the life on Earth in some way, shape, or form. And he has to stay behind, so they have to separate. And he is then he the son Kale is then sent off to to live with to go with Tech, so he can escape. He can get off Earth before it explodes, because that's what happens. An alien race destroys our planet because they're afraid of what we're going to become. And my only note here is, well, we knew it would come to this eventually.
Yeah, my note is like, I'm not going to argue this point. like, I think that's fair to assume that we all become horrible monsters.
So then we jump cut to 15 years later.
Yeah, and just want to point out, in that cold open, guys, billions of people died.
Yeah,
That's
there's no way the Earth cleared everybody on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said 15 years later, and the first thing I noticed is that, you know how in like some animated movies, it also helps to see the design of the character, and you're like, oh, they're clearly like going for an actor here. They clearly designed it after the actor a little bit. I
Mm.
don't notice that for the most of these characters, but I will say that Kale has the most 90s Matt Damon haircut of all time. Like, that is
Yeah.
clearly modeled after Matt Damon.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
just like I also like how this movie assumes that haircut is going to be still super cool in the 31st century.
the first thing I noticed was that they got an hour for lunch, and my thought was that's fantastic. Guy, Earth has been destroyed, and you're one of the last few humans alive in the galaxy, working in deep space as a salvage guy, and you still have a better lunch time than I do. He's probably unionized and everything.
Probably, although he's not treated real well by the alien
He
dudes.
is not. Humans, we come to find out, are kind of secondary citizens of the universe at this point, because and something that they just kind of gloss over, the aliens are everywhere, and there's like people are it's fine. They
Yeah.
However, they're not cool with humans, and so much so that when they do go on their 1 hour break, Matt Damon is forced to go to the back of the line because humans wait.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not waiting. He's just gonna jump the line, which means that he's gonna go in through one of the other loading docks or docking bays. And the other humans are like, hey, you jerk, you're gonna get yourself killed. And he's like, it's only if a ship docks in the docking bay. What are the odds of that? In the docking bay, 1,000 to 1 in the docking bay. That's what it's for. So he
And
almost gets killed by Drew Barrymore.
by Drew Barrymore, who, again, if we're gonna say characters that look like the actors, I'd say this is the character that looks the least like the actor performing them.
I don't know. I don't think Nathan Lane or Janeane Garofalo look like that.
I beg to differ.
And Leguizamo was pretty spot on.
Okay, how about I'll reword that: the human characters,
Okay.
of which there are a few.
Yeah.
I would argue the Ron Perlman one looks nothing like Ron Perlman.
No, not at all.
But yeah, she's just like this, like punk looking, not punk, but like she's got like purple in her hair, so she's
I'd
kind
say
of wacky.
she's more like a scene girl, emo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got a
Yeah.
purple streak in her hair, meaning she's got a wild side.
Right. what's called Kale, Matt Damon. He ends up like he doesn't get killed by her, but he does end up almost like a bug on her windshield. To cover it up and be smooth, he starts cleaning the windshield of her ship. I would have loved it if she had started banging on the window and said, "Get off the car! I'm not giving you a quarter. Get off the car!"
But they're too busy staring into each other's eyes, Nathan.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess there's a connection there. We're supposed to think.
Immediately.
Yeah. So we go inside. We find out that Tech he is still alive, and he seems to enjoy the food that's being served for lunch. Kale, not so much.
Well, I
And
mean,
I think anybody named Kale shouldn't have any problems with any kind of food because you're named after the worst.
wait, worse than like the jumping alien, whatever the fuck that food was?
I don't know I don't know what it tastes like. I mean, I'd have to give it a fair shot, but I'm pretty sure it's better than kale.
Listen, I'm just gonna make a bold statement right here and right now. I hashtag Team Kale just for the moment that just for the part where he says, "I would like my food dead before I eat it." I'm totally behind that statement.
Okay, so you're team character kale, but you're not team leafy green kale.
No, fuck that shit.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that we're on the same page in that regard.
I've only had dried kale before, and I ate it, and my literal comment was, "What was the point of that?" So it wasn't bad or good. I was just like,
kale chips. No, they're not. They are just seasoned dried leaves. That's what they are.
Yeah, I guess that went into my mouth and into my stomach. Sure.
But unfortunately, Tech he's blind now. We don't really get an explanation for that.
Well, I mean, I think you know
Could be
why.
all the lie. Well, I mean, that's just a rumor. And the fact that I have to wear glasses now does not reflect on that in any way, shape, or form.
No, but they sure reflect.
That's awful.
Uh,
Terrible.
uh,
You should show yourself out. Okay.
Footsteps.
Get back here. We got an episode to
Footstep.
So we go after Kale is he's not feeling this food because it's still moving, which I mean, in all seriousness, fair.
Yeah.
He does get roughed up by some miners or salvage guys. Roughed up by some salvage guys who are a part of the crew. And they call him uppity.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, kudos for using the word right, but anytime I hear that word, I get a little, yeah.
Well, also because they use it for like a fucking blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds a little
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the reality that he's living at that point.
Whenever I see a movie in which like they're trying to make a statement about race, but like the way they do it is like using a white dude to be like, "Oh, I'm so prejudiced against," I'm like, ugh, fuck off.
Wow, have you ever seen the movie The White Man's Burden?
No.
Oof. It is I believe it's John Travolta and Harry Belafonte, and they live in an alternate universe where white people are subjugated by black people.
Okay, but that whole movie is making the point of the opposite thing. I think maybe I mean more like
Oh,
if
you mean like
an
when Tucker
alien
Carlson does it?
or like in like an alien world, where
Battlefield Earth.
like
That's what
the good guys are like the white peasants and they're so like down in the dumps and they're treated like slaves and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Also, apparently I just looked up White Man's Burden. Not well received, oddly enough.
Can't wait to cover it now.
Oh my god, I need to watch this. I didn't say anything about the movie. It could handle that in a very clunky way, but
it's I watched it out of morbid curiosity when I was a teenager.
oh
Yeah.
dear. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that one. Okay.
But we're not now. We're talking about Titan After Earth.
Yeah, they're beating him up and they're calling him uppity.
Yes. And that's when we meet Captain Oddshirt, also known as Corso. Man, that was a weird shirt he had on.
It was. I actually wrote. I was like, okay, so I knew. Right, I heard Bill Pullman's voice, and I was like, why is Bill Pullman playing a douchey magician?
Right. It looked like what would be considered like a fancy hip shirt from the 70s.
Yeah. Again, weird style trends have retained their relevance in the 31st century. Also,
True.
this should have been, if they wanted to make him look like a douchey magician, should have just been Chris Angel Mind Freak.
Wasn't a thing at that point.
Unfortunately,
David Blaine. They could have made him David Blaine.
oh god, insufferable. Look,
So-
it's magic. I'm in a fucking case and I don't eat for 2 days. That's not magic. You're just an idiot.
It's not magic. You're just fasting, asswipe. So he helps Kale out to survive this beatdown, and it kind of wants him to join this cause or this mission because he knows who Kale is. That he's what does the I don't Ron Perlman's kid. We're just gonna call him because I
He
can't
gave
remember
him a
what
special
character.
ring too.
He did, and I don't. You know what? The year 3000 is going to be interesting because you're apparently going to be able to imprint star maps into your hands, like I don't know, like genetically programmed, but with a key. So, like, you know, if you have like the ring that you can put on your finger, but only if you have the ring, will the star map then show up on your hand to show you how to get to Titan after Earth?
As long as I don't have to digitally imprint a Star Grove on my hand.
Well, I mean, they would digitally imprint that somewhere else.
Oh no.
That way, that's actually they would do that just for the illumination because that is indeed where the sun don't shine. So you need some kind of luminescence there.
Mm-hmm. You'll put a little light on the situation.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you want to be fumbling around in the dark.
So he agrees to go on the mission.
Well, he sort of does, but he doesn't. He kind of does, but doesn't at first because he's like, I don't need your mission and I don't need your help. I can take care of these idiots. And then Captain Corso, weird shirt, cuts he releases the two aliens who were roughing him up and said, "Oh, you don't, eh? I think he called you an idiot."
Yeah.
And then of course he's like, "Oh no! I'll do that. I'll go along."
Yeah. But
And this is when the dredge show up at the salvage station they're working on, and this is where we get our first glimpse of the dredge, and they are dredgeful.
yeah, it's
I've been saving that one for a couple of days now. Been waiting for this episode just to roll around so I could say they look dredgeful.
good lord. Well, they also they look like they're from another movie. They don't
Right,
look like
because everything else in this movie, all the other beings in this movie are 2D animation, and they are CG rendered.
Yeah, like I wouldn't have been surprised if they had gone back to their home planet and it just said like Sony on it or something.
And it's kind of weird because it's 2000, all right.
Mhm.
Has Shrek come out at this point? I think it has.
The next year.
The next year.
Yeah.
Okay. But Toy Story's been out.
Oh yeah, for 5 years.
Okay. So why do the dredge have to be so spindly and formless?
I don't know, and especially when I see the budget for this movie, I think they could have.
And I feel that like they look kind of ridiculous, and I feel that the folks, Don Bluth and the folks that were working with him could have come up with something that looked a lot more menacing than this. I get they're supposed to be like pure energy or something, aren't they? Almost.
Wonder if it's a Studio or Selleck thing here where they wanted to make them like Don Bluth animation stuff, but the studio was like, nah, they'd look really cool if they were like computers and stuff.
It's got to be CG. It's 2000, Don. Get with the times.
Don, it's 2000. CGI ain't gonna get any better than this.
Well, I mean,
Computer graphics are at their tippy top.
you've seen Tron Legacy, so
Yeah, it took 10 years until they were perfect.
right. So the dredge, they attack. That's what happens here. And
Does Tech die, or does he just kind of stay there?
he dies because don't they blow the shit out of that
Oh
salvage
yeah, I guess
station?
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Poor Tone
He-
Loc.
Poor Tone Loc. He does make the sacrifice for Kale, and this is actually why Kale goes along with the mission, because he kind of has to.
Yeah.
It's either that or stay behind and get blowed up with Tech.
Yeah, and I do like how, I know you mentioned Jim Breuer making a brief appearance. I do like how when Kale and Corso, goddamn these names, just like Tron Legacy all over again, when they're running out through the ship or whatever, and the alien cook played by Jim Breuer is like, fuck these guys, and he's basically telling the aliens like, they're in here. The aliens thank him by cooking him alive.
Yeah.
Just liquefying him right there. And I was like,
Well, you know what
Yeah.
you can say about Jim Breuer in the 2000s? He liked getting baked.
only halfway though.
Because they cooked him.
Only halfway.
Only halfway, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be if he. I'm not saying that people that are stoned out of their minds for years end up like this, but maybe part of it. Maybe part
I
of
haven't, so I mean,
not everyone.
Yeah, you're
but-
right. So I've heard.
Yeah.
I just have I do have a note here. Don Bluth sure does like to animate butts. Remember I talked earlier about how like the fluidity of his animation and to make the movement look more, I guess, natural. He does that a lot with hips and butts. Not just
okay.
in this movie, like in any of his things. Like you watch a Don Bluth movie, even if it's like a kid's movie, he still likes to make the rump shake.
He's gotta
Just saying.
Got to show off those big dumpers.
You gotta make it clap. In a Don Bluth film.
Listen, Mrs. Brisby had it going on.
You want to hear an interesting tidbit about that?
Tidbit that's interesting.
That's right. In the books, her name is Miss Frisbee, and when they made the movie, we're talking the Secrets of Nim, folks, just in case you're not up to speed. When they made the movie, they approached Whammo, the people who owned the trademark to Frisbee, to say, hey, you guys aren't going to have a problem with this because, I mean, we're not talking about Frisbees. Her name is Frisbee. And they were like, nope, we'll sue. So yeah, the people who make Frisbees were that dickish that they were going to sue over the use of just a name that not even spelled the same, a name that sounds like Frisbee in a kid's movie, a delightful kid's movie. Probably one of the best Don Bluth movies, if you ask me.
They could have just made a deal instead and made Mrs. Brisby Frisbees.
Oh my God, can you imagine the tie-in?
Yeah.
It'd be Miss Frisbee Frisbees.
Well, wasn't her name Mrs. Brisby?
Not in the books. It was Frisbee.
Oh, it was Frisbee. Okay, so Mrs. Frisbee. That's it. There you go. Done.
Yeah. Put
Dawn.
Dawn. Yeah. Put the likenesses on the Frisbees. Call them Frisbees, like Brendan said.
Jesus.
And look at, and then Dawn, you would have had the money to bankroll the movies that were coming up next, like that. Oh my God, that Shoemaker one. Yeah. Look up some of his works. There's some things that did not get. They didn't get made until years and years and years after they got started, and yeah, the poor guy. He's really good, but he's not the best at playing the game when it comes to Hollywood. So,
but you know who is good at playing the game? Kale and Corso.
Oh.
Well, and Matt Damon, because they managed to get out, and they even use a fire hydrant to shoot them off into another ship.
I love that. They would be dead from radiation.
Yes,
because they get into an escape pod, and the window starts to crack. They need Drew Barrymore to come with their ship to pick them up, and he's like, you need to hurry, and the window's cracking. And Corso grabs the fire extinguisher, like Brendan said, and he says to Kale, "Exhale, exhale." So there's no air in your lungs, meaning that you're not going to like burst into the vacuum of space, but you would be dead from radiation
Immediately.
because there's no like you would freeze, and like it's a weird thing. You'd freeze, and also be dead from radiation. If that,
Mhm.
I mean, space is weird. That I know that does those two things don't really track, but that's how it would happen.
Yeah, they should make horror movies in space. Have they ever tried that?
Couple of times hasn't
Oh,
worked
okay.
out well. Just
Ever.
ask John Carpenter and the Ghosts of Mars.
Wait, hold
John
on.
Carpenter, folks, we love John Carpenter, don't we?
Hold on. I mean, I was saying it. I was saying sarcastically. I mean, we have alien movies. Come on. Oh man. Okay, so they
Moon
get into the
18.
ship. Drew Barrymore is there with her gay bat assistant, played by Nathan Lane. I mean, I think he was a gay bat.
I think I would actually say that he's more omnisexual in this case because
Okay,
he's
he's in the community.
he's flirtatious with everything that
True.
but he's also a he's scummy, and kind of right away, so that like what happens later in the movie, you're just like, yeah,
Mhm.
that tracks.
Yeah, maybe I'm just putting that on him because it's Nathan Lane and he's just very flamboyant. But they're like bringing Kale back to health, and
Did
we
you
see
feel
his
that way about
full.
Timon?
Uh, no, because I would think I wouldn't have known who Nathan Lane was at the time. So that was the first movie I saw in theaters.
Oh, okay.
But what I was going to say is when they're bringing Kale back to health, we get that full cartoon Matt Damon butt.
Yes, yeah.
That was shocking.
My note earlier seemed to be fairly prophetic. I was
That
like,
was
oh, and here is a naked cartoon ass.
Oh, and by the way, Nathan, I just want to note that because Corso and Preed, who is the bat played by Nathan Lane, are
Mhm.
on the ship together, it's Timon and Pullman.
Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. I'll accept that one.
There's also a tough, no-nonsense bat played by Janeane Garofalo, which was shocking when I heard the voice come out of the character.
Was she a bat? She had
I
like
think
these.
they were both
I th-
bats.
I thought she was like a. I thought she was more inspired by like a kangaroo because she had these really weird stonking legs.
I just thought like a lot of the character, like there's character design later coming up, and I was like, why are there so many bats in this universe?
So okay,
It took
so where
over
are we
after
at here?
COVID.
Right. That was their plan.
Yeah, now we rule.
Oh, anywho.
Yeah, tough no nonsense bat or kangaroo played by Janeane Garofalo, and a little troll thing called Goon played by
Goon,
John Leguizamo.
spelled Gune.
Yep, because
I looked it up.
got to be different.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean to toot my own horn because, as we said earlier, that could possibly lead to blindness. But I went out of my way to look up names and have them noted because they were so weird. I didn't want to just be going. So Nathan Lane then says to Janeane Garofalo, but they're not acting because it's a cartoon.
But it still would have been great if we did do that.
I suppose. Yeah.
And then Charles Rocket turns out to be really smart suddenly.
Oh man, that kind of it was nice to see that he was involved in this production, but
Oh, that
every
would have
time
come out. Yeah, it would have been a couple years before he died.
5 years
yeah.
before he died. Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyhow.
so anyway, all these characters are introduced, and Kale fucking Goodwill Hunting's Goon's machine back and fixes it.
Yeah, we also find that Goon is a palm licker.
Oh man, he like sucks the dinner out of Kale's hand.
Right?
He's just
the
weird
the
little
leftover
wormy thing.
bug squish things that were like, that he actually refused to eat. He's like, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, he just starts straight up sucking on his hand.
It's like they missed the mark when they got Leguizamo when they should have got Kevin Spacey.
Ah!
It would have Man, that would have aged perfectly, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, just like the movie that actually got pulled from theaters starring Kevin Spacey when the scandal broke out, in which he played a character that had affairs with young men. I'm not joking.
Wow.
N-
I was
Literally came
unaware.
out
I was unaware of that.
the week that it happened, and they were like, "We might pull that one." I think it made like $2,000 before they pulled it.
Okay. So all right. So now we kind of get like the part where Corso catches everybody up as to what's going on about the ring and all this, and they have to go to the planet where the Gauss are. And
Right?
I was yeah, and they even look like the Gauss.
They call them Gowl, but like, come on,
That's the Gauss.
it's the
That's
Gauss.
I mean they're bat people. They
See?
and they
More
don't talk it
fucking
like
bats.
the bat. Yes, exactly. Actually, it's funny because when they do get to that planet, and actually no, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna get to when I get to that I want to
It's
get to
called
that.
Planet Sesharim, and it also looks like, and I know that's not what they are, but it looks like there's a bunch of just like giant lethal jellyfish in the air.
Oh, they're hydrogen trees.
Yeah, but they look like big jellyfish, and they're
And
wearing
I
just
got some notes about those things when we get for a little bit later too. All the stuff I'm saving. Oh my goodness,
don't
I'm
know what
doing
it could be because that's the way hydrogen explodes, as far as I know.
this. Right. And so they go to see the Gauss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just calling them that now. I don't care. And one of the Gauss is basically telling Matt Damon or Kale that you have to hold your hand this way. And Matt Damon, he's talking, trying to kind of suss out what the leader of the Gauss is saying to him. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I do this, and the Gauss leader kind of looks behind him and is like, oh my god, I'd pay $50 easily if the Gauss had just, would you shut up? Just shut up and hold your hand this way. You find out like they can speak perfect English,
That would have been
and they're
great.
just like fed to death with his shit.
That's like the same joy I get in a movie where someone goes up to someone that's like a, Asian or
Oh,
something, and they go like, "Excuse me, sir," and the person's like, "Yeah, I speak English."
what do you want? So I would love if that happened here, but that doesn't happen here. They tell him that he has to hold his hand out just a certain way, and he'll be able to read the star map, and they'll be able to find out where Titan after Earth is. And
Mhm.
they don't get a whole lot to kind of um to really process that because the dredge attack the planet. They don't hack the planet, they attack the planet. And
It's fucked up
the
too because the Gauss were just like chilling on their home planet, and these guys come here and bring all this chaos here. It's like, I don't know.
right, but we find out that in the intervening years, this is the 31st century.
Hmm.
The Gauss are now the guardians of the universe and protector and friend of all children because they help save Matt Damon, Kale, and Drew Barrymore. I can't remember her name now.
Akima.
Akima. I wrote it down and everything. I just can't find it in my notes right now.
And meanwhile, Nathan Lane is too busy
Freed. Freed
yeah,
and
he's too
Goon.
busy shooting at like praying mantises to like be on lookout for the dredge.
And he's supposed to be, and that's like, we people say this a lot, but he had one job.
Well, and I mean, to your point earlier, I think showing that he's taking great joy in killing like a tiny defenseless thing is probably another hint that he's not going to be so good later.
Right. So when this is kind of a chase through Secheron, or that's the name of the planet, right?
Yeah, Sesharim. Yeah.
Okay, Secheron. And they're taking great care to avoid these hydrogen trees because they'll explode at almost like the drop of a hat.
Mhm.
Literally, like if you dropped a hat on one, apparently it'll explode. So as they're getting away, the dredge are chasing them, and Kale. They're shooting at the at the dredge. To which I noted, why aren't you shooting the trees?
Yeah, to make them blow up.
Exactly, because
Mhm.
don't shoot at the trees around you. Obviously, that's stupid. But shoot at the trees that are around the dredge, who are like a few hundred meters behind you. Blow up those trees and blow up the dredge. There are plenty of these trees on this planet. Trust me, there's not going to be any sort of deforestation because they blow up a couple of trees. I think those trees could take the hit, and the planet could as well. And they would take care of the dredge, and they would be doing the Gauss a favor by getting rid of the dredge.
Don't they do eventually do that though, don't they?
They do. They
Yeah.
do manage to get free of it. The dredge don't blow up the Gauss planet, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Which lets me know that if there's a Gauss planet, there has to be a Gamera planet, which makes my heart sore.
Just a bunch of cameras and cloaks.
Just walking around like Skeksis, but good.
Oh.
Yeah.
The fuck is a Skeksis?
What? You haven't seen Dark Crystal?
I don't know.
I recommend it highly.
That and Labyrinth are like movies that when I think about it, I'm like, I think I've seen it, but I don't know. I just remember.
I definitely recommend Dark Crystal because it was one of the first movies I saw in theaters, and I think should have been one of the first times that my parents realized I wasn't quite right, because I had all these stories about like kids who saw who had gone to see Dark Crystal or had seen it at a young age were scared by the Skeksis because they're like the bad guys in this, and it's a Jim Henson production, so it's not like a cartoon.
Mhm.
They're very realistically portrayed, and kids who had seen it at the age that I had seen it say they were scared, they were terrified because the Skeksis they're kind of menacing looking. But I, as a child of probably four or five at the time, didn't bat an eye, wasn't bothered by it at all. To which I think my parents maybe should have had me, checked out. But I mean, yeah, I turned out okay. I think I turned out all right. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm a good person. I'm a good enough person. Good enough person. That's what I am. Good enough. Titan After Earth. So oof, they do manage, like I said, we do manage to get free of the dredge, and they what's that? Oh my, they go to the trade ship Soros, which I was like, oh my god, please don't let the right cling on to this.
I'm just asking questions. Why do they go to the ship marked Soros?
And it's a trade ship. I think that's weird.
Do you remember the story of Soros, the secret Nazi? I'm not saying he was. I'm just asking. Yeah.
Tucker Carlson looks like a confused dog that was the product of too much inbreeding.
I agree, and I won't finish this sentence, but I will say the beginning of it. There aren't that many people in this world that I would be happy hearing the news that they died. ... So anyway, Titan A.E.
You know what? I'm with you on that. I don't understand why people were like, oh, you shouldn't say that you wish someone was dead. I think it's perfectly fine if someone you feel that the world would be a way better place without that person in it. I think it's perfectly fine.
If someone is actively trying to overthrow democracy, I have no problem
And
wishing
subjugate people.
Yeah, I have no problem wishing ill will towards them in the most painful possible way.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, those silly comic relief sidekicks, Goon and Nathan Lane,
Creed,
yeah, are don't pay attention, and all this stuff goes down, and then Kale and Akima are kidnapped by Sony PlayStation and zapped into their fucking weird ship. And I guess this just gives them time to talk about memories of Earth.
Yeah, they do.
They don't really get killed. They just get like zapped there. And then Akima's like, yeah, I remember Earth and it was so fun. And Titan is so important because then we can finally have a home again. And blah, blah, blah.
Is it later or did it happen earlier that she shows him like kind of the relics that she has?
That's later.
Of Earth. That's later.
That's
okay.
Later, yeah.
Okay, we'll save that then.
Because we hear the voice come on that's like, imprison the boy, jettison the girl. And they shoot her out in fucking like frozen carbonite onto a slave planet.
But they don't, and that's the thing, they don't kill her. So I guess there's a Geneva Convention
Yeah, sure.
in the 31st century, and
Apparently not for cooks that sound like Goat Boy.
considering what he becomes, it's okay.
They knew they could tell the future.
They knew. Yeah.
I mean, I guess they know the past.
Does that mean that the cook is a descendant of Jim Breuer?
Yes.
Kale manages to pinch zoom his way out of his prison. That was the funniest thing. Like, that wasn't a thing at the time. Like, obviously, like, we didn't have a whole lot of touchscreen stuff happening at the round of the turn of the century or the millennium, which is a really odd thing to say when you think about it. My brother pointed that out to me a little while ago. He was talking to his kids about something that happened in the late 90s, and he was like, yeah, that happened last century. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. So Kale does this thing where he kind of like he puts his fingers like together because he can apparently be kind of sort of shocked by the dredge, but not be really hurt or killed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something to do with Brent. What is it? Plot. Right. And so he basically he takes it and he basically he manages to like I don't know, spread his way, pinch zoom his way out of his prison, and also manages, because he knows this now, he can pinch zoom his way around the dredge base and into dredge ships. So this actually led me to my note, because the dredge they whenever they talk in this movie, they don't speak English, so everything's subtitled for them, which kudos to Bluth for doing that, because it would have just been super easy just to make everybody speaks English and that. But I mean, they actually have like a language made up for the dredge. But it made me question, does Kale understand the dredge? Because there are points in this scene where I think he grasps what's going on, but doesn't know the finer nuance of what they're doing. He knows what's going on, so he kind of steals a dredge ship.
I feel like his knowledge of the dredge language is the same level as maybe like that old woman in Airplane who says she speaks a little jive.
Oh god. That is an interesting reference to make in Titan After Earth. Kudos to you, sir.
Akima at the same time, by the way, gets launched over to the slave cages, but I like how they go and like, you know, they get this big elaborate plan to save her, but ultimately she just saves herself and then they just go pick her up.
Well, yeah, because Kale escapes in a dredge ship, and he ends up being sort of rescued by Corso and the crew. And before they do go and meet up with why can't I remember her name? Akima. They go up and they meet up with Akima. They have this padding section with the I almost said the woke angels, but the wake angels.
I wrote the woke angels too.
Okay,
that by the way, that part was the most useless part of this movie.
It was just to show off the two different types of animation being used.
These are wake angels, and they're
right
good for like good luck and stuff. And now listen to this shitty pop song.
They do explain that the wake angels are these creatures that they don't understand and actually don't come into play at all
ever.
And but they follow ships out into deep space, feeding off the energy in the wake of the thrusters for the rockets that they have. That's why they're called wake angels. And so we just get like this prolonged section of Kale piloting the ship and basically frolicking with the wake angels, and Corso being like, see, I knew you could do it and pilot this thing. Now let's go save Akima, even though she already sort of saved herself.
Yeah. And then there's that whole thing where we talked about earlier where they go up to the guard. Nathan Lane pretends to be like
he's terrible at everything.
Yeah, he pretends to be like a slave capturer or something. But then the guard is like, okay, here's here are your problems with this portrayal. You didn't do this right. You didn't lean over the right way is, if you're a Satrakian or whatever the fuck he is,
Yeah,
the right way to
you should
address
have
this.
threatened me first.
Yeah, you should have threatened me first instead of asking. And then they eventually just like punch the guard and like knock him out. And I was like, why didn't they just do that in the first place? But yeah, that was kind of a funny bit because it was like instead of going down that road where like, they sneak their way in, the guard is just like, no, this is stupid. Worst disguise ever. Here are all your problems with it.
Everybody's is kind of reunited, and now we're heading off to New Bangkok, where I hear a night there makes a hard man humble. References.
You got him. And we also intensified the sexual tension because Kale walks in on Akima in a towel now. Again, Don Bluth, you pervert.
Hey, now, let's not kink shame. Just because he likes cartoons doesn't make him a bad person.
I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying he's a bit of a pervert. The way you want to use that connotation, I mean,
I'm going to agree and disagree because, as far as I can tell, Akima is of age, of consent.
I never said he was a pedophile. I just said he was a bit of a pervert.
I mean, she doesn't do anything weird or anything like that.
It's just funny
he
how
wants to see some cartoon butt. Come on.
It's just funny how
it's 3038. Live your best life.
It's just funny how in this animated movie there's a lot more sexual content than I thought.
That's Don Bluth for you.
But yeah, Kale walks in on her. She's in a towel.
I mean, have you ever seen that super sexy scene with Mrs. Brisby from the scene of Secret of Nim?
Yeah, somebody throws her through the air and then she comes right back.
She comes right back.
Oh, God. Anywho, we find out Akima is a hoarder.
Yes. Well, she is, but I don't know. Did you say she's a hoarder or would you say she's an archivist?
Yeah, I mean,
because the stuff that she's holding on to is stuff that was from like real Earth. It's not like repros. Yeah. She's got like baseballs and things that actually came from Earth, and she justifies it by saying that this is a part of our past that we're never going to have back. Like it's tactile. It's something that you can hold in your hand, something that was on Earth, and Earth's not there anymore. It's like Alderaan.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have like 40 pounds of magazines on the ground or anything, but I'm just
right. She's not saving poop in buckets, which is a thing. If you watch Hoarders, it's disgusting.
Do you think anybody watches Hoarders and maybe they're not a hoarder, but they see like the poop and bucket thing and they're just like, yeah, that makes sense.
No, my general experience with Hoarders is we watch an episode of Hoarders here, and then I have to deal with the fact that everything has to be thrown out at our house for like the next week.
Yes, that's why I can't watch it because I'll just fucking look around the house and be like, I need to throw out that. That needs to go. That needs to go. That needs to go right now.
So I think I've figured out the relationship dynamic with you versus me. So you're Patty, Mariah is me.
Okay,
which makes sense because she's a huge penis, as we covered earlier with my huge truck and giant television.
And that you're not overcompensating.
None whatsoever.
No.
Patty is the same way. If we watch an episode of Hoarders for like a week afterwards, like this has got to go and this has got to go. We don't need that. Oh, we should everything has a home and we need to get rid of all the things that we don't use. Whereas I'm just like, relax, okay? We're not cutting a path through a stacks upon stacks of Newsweeks from 1982.
I mean, to be fair, sometimes I just sometimes it doesn't have to be an episode of Hoarders. I just sit there and I look around and be like, I need to throw a lot of stuff out, and then I just do it. So it doesn't always just take an episode of Hoarders. Anyway, enough about Hoarders. Titan A.E. Right. Because we got a heel turn coming up here.
Oh, yeah, a couple of them, actually.
Well, Corso is in league with the Dredge. What? And so is Preed. What?
Yeah, we saw that one coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we kind of get revealed that...
Actually, a better swerve in this case would have been if Preed had not been in league with them.
Goon John Leguizamo was the evil megalomaniacal guy behind it
I would
all.
not have seen that coming. I mean, granted, it would have made as much sense as a Vince Russo swerve that Vince McMahon didn't veto. Finally, wrestling reference got it in.
That's good.
Took us a while.
Well, I mean, when you're in space, no one can hear you grapple.
Sure.
No one can hear you.
I'm only allowing that because I am almost on my second beer. So.
No one can hear you in space. No one can hear you Irish whip.
In space, no one can hear you swerve.
There you go.
Yeah, I knew we could figure that one out.
Vince Russo's Alien movie is one I don't want to see.
Bro, it's a cat on a pole match.
Jesus Christ. So Corso turns heel, and so does Preed, and then they basically are like Akima and Kale have to like run and get out of there in like the skate pod.
And Stilth and Goon are left to kind of like fend them off. And I'm like, you do not hurt Leguizamo.
Thankfully, our favorites, like literally, Nathan, my note is thankfully our favorites, Goon and Janeane Garofalo, aren't evil.
Right? They're the purest in this movie.
They're like, I don't know what's going on. What's happening?
I'm just here to do the job that you asked me to do because I'm a good being. I can't say human because they're not human.
No, they're not human. But Kale brings Akima to like I guess some like Chinese healers, and I was like, movie. Tread lightly. It got a little.
Well, they are in
new.
They're still in New Bangkok at this point, aren't they?
Yeah.
So but, I'm assuming it's called New Bangkok because the predominant population are people from Thailand.
Yeah. I just was a little. I was just unalerted a little bit with a 2000 animated movie going to
to Asian healers. That's cool because they're like, get me some corn liquor. Which you do when you go to the doctor, get some corn liquor. And we get this exchange with Kale and a couple of people who are from New Bangkok, and I was like, are they trying to introduce some sort of like relationship tension with Kale and this girl that he talks to, whose kid brother really loves soccer,
but then
and
it's dropped.
their dad might be Pele,
right? But then it's just dropped.
Yeah,
they never go back to it,
and then those people never come into play again.
We see them very briefly at the very end of the movie when they're showing that ship, but that's it.
Right.
So listen, you know what? Akima is nursed back to health, and how are we going to stop Corso and help me out,
Preed, yeah.
Because I think they have the ring now, right? They have Kale's ring.
Yes.
And the only way we can stop them, Nathan, is we gotta have a montage.
Right. Actually, I have this section noted as this week on Ship Hunters Intergalactic.
Yeah.
Only on HGTV.
Great. I'm in.
I'm not. I fucking hate that channel. I fucking hate HGTV.
That's a good background channel.
Hate it.
It's a lot of rage for home and gardening television.
Hot garbage television, you mean? Sorry. It's
Jeez.
it's you know what? It's my problem. I'm going to, Patty watches it constantly. And I actually we once got into a bit of an exchange because I was like, what's this? Is it bored white people flipping a house, or is it bored white people buying a house? It's bored white people buying a house. They're like, Patty was like, Nathan, they're not all white. I was like, that was as close as she ever got to saying, Nathan, don't be a racist.
I mean, they're mostly all white
for the most part.
So yeah, they start putting together this whole hunk of shit they find in the junkyard, And by the way, back at the other ship, Corso is being a real big asshole. He's abusing Goon. He's abusing little Goon.
Right? You don't hurt the Leguizamo.
And he sees
Garofalo
Kale.
can take care of herself.
He says, "Oh,
She's
she's
a
tough
tough
as
girl.
nails." Yeah,
She's right. Yeah.
yeah.
I wouldn't want to tussle with Janeane Garofalo
In bat kangaroo form or real human
in
form.
any form. No,
Yeah.
she looks like I'm pretty sure she could handle herself.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Like, just give her a hug to let her know it's gonna be okay. she's a lot of existential dread. I get that from her. A lot of her stand up.
Hey, listen, man. Reality bites. That's what they say.
truly does. Also, Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Yep. Any other Janeane Garofalo movies you want to name? The Truth About Cats and Dogs. This movie.
That one episode of The Simpsons she was on.
Sure. The one season of Saturday Night Live.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah. Half a season actually. She didn't put up
Oh.
with that shit. So anyway, yeah, he's being a big asshole to Goon, and he sees Kale and Akima, and so
he
they're
also
like, "Oh,
and he sucks at tailing.
yeah, because
He is-
Kale sees him immediately."
Right? He is awful. Even before she saw them, I'm like, I've played Grand Theft Auto 5. He is way too close to be tailing. That is gonna fail mission right away.
Yeah, it's just gonna go all black and white, and then your night is over.
Right, and then you have to start over. You have to,
Why did I
your
say
last
your
checkpoint.
night is over? Okay, Nathan, I just established a world where if you lose at a level of Grand Theft Auto 5, it just shuts the game down for the night. You can't play
And
again until the next
you have,
day.
You have to go to bed. Yeah,
You have to
Your
go
night's over.
Yeah, you don't even you can't even just stop playing the game. You have to go to bed, or else it's that thing in Tank Girl where she enters the wrong code and that gas comes in.
The cyanide gas. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're not asleep within 10 minutes, cyanide comes out of the PlayStation and just fucking kills
Well,
you.
The good thing, mine's modded, so.
Oh, thank God.
No,
It's just light cyanide.
Right. And Naomi Watts shows up to save me. So it's freaking win.
Oh, jealous.
Right?
They end up in there's a bunch of ice things. It's like a Hall of Mirrors-esque thing where they're there's reflections everywhere.
Yeah. And it's I don't know. It's an ice shield that's designed to protect Titan after Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
But Corso just starts blasting through that ice. Again,
right.
Why didn't you do that 10 minutes ago when you arrived?
Especially when he kind of realizes that they've spotted him.
Yeah.
He doesn't go full guns ablazing. He's still like, I want to cat and mouse this thing a bit.
Yeah, it's
still. I mean, they've seen me, but I want to sneak around a bit. Work up on my stealth.
Classic Bill Pullman move.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, they're just chasing them, and then Kale just well, fucking, we easily got away from them. And then the funniest thing is they see Titan, and their reaction does not match what it looks like.
Because they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? Titan is the Technodrome?
I just wrote, it's just this big, ugly gray globe. I mean, I guess
it's the Death Star.
I guess it's cool that you got there.
I guess the Life Star in this situation. I'm getting ahead of myself.
But I just think it's funny that whenever clearly they had the characters reacting and then drew in what it was going to look like later, and they just didn't make it impressive or nice to look at all.
They do manage to get onto Titan After Earth and find out that for the most part it's kind of it's a DNA vault, and that really sounds gross when I say it that way, because it sounds like I'm talking about a sperm bank, but it's a DNA vault. They've got samples of all forms of life from Earth, like bottlenose dolphin and any. I'm assuming as many life forms that they could gather to put into this DNA vault. I keep saying it. Why do I keep saying it?
Blue-footed booby. Gray fox,
titmouse,
red fox, Jamie Fox,
you big dummy.
Michael J. Fox.
Alicia Fox.
So they're in Titan.
Okay.
Kale finds an old piece of junk that reminds him of working on stuff with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little flashback to
Actually, I
that.
think that's actually the thing that he almost lost on the river at the first.
Yeah.
It's the same toy.
And I guess I was wrong. I don't think he does lose the ring to Corso, because he puts the ring on the holder.
Yeah, he still has it.
Yeah.
He still has it at this point, yeah.
And it immediately powers up. He's like, I guess this is where this goes.
Oh, that was a fortuitous choice.
I know, right? I was like, imagine if he had done it and the whole thing just blew up and then credits.
Yeah. Whoopsie doodle. I guess the Dredge win.
And then you get
what follows next?
But you would get the end of Return of the Jedi, but instead of Ewoks, it's Dredge celebrating all over the world.
We knew what they were going to become. Finally, our cause has come to fruition. We did the right thing. We're the heroes because it's our story.
Goddamn right. Anyway, go ahead. What happens?
Anyways, what follows next is double cross after double cross after double cross.
Well, they try to kill Goon and Janeane Garofalo,
which is your first mistake.
Yeah, they tried to set her watch to blow up, and Goon grabs it and throws it down out of the ship, and they end up being fine. But then, yeah, like you said, Corso gets it's an even heelier turn because Nathan Lane turns on Bill Pullman. I'm just fucking using actors' names now.
Yeah, because after Preed and Corso try to blow up Goon and Stealth, I did my work. Kima. That's her name.
Akima. You got it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he gets Corso gets double crossed by Preed, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm pretty sure Vince Russo wrote at least part of this script.
And he says he did it for the money and the health plan.
Bro.
Also, dude, so they eventually they kind of get away from him, and he's shooting and he's trying to catch them. Corso snaps his neck, and it was brutal.
Oh yeah, I was like, that actually tracks with the Don Bluth film. Don Bluth is such an interesting cat, like his work anyways, because a lot of it is very it's PG. A lot of it's PG-13 even before PG-13 was a thing. Okay, so I mean, it's fairly safe for a lot of even younger folks to watch, but then you get shit like this, where somebody's neck gets broken in front of you.
And maybe it just makes it even more brutal, the fact that it's not only that he breaks the neck of a character, but it's also an animalistic character, so it looks like a slaughter. It just looks so brutal.
Yeah. During the
Nathan Lane is dead as fuck.
He's dead as fuck. And we think through this double cross that happened earlier where Preed tried to blow up Goon and Stealth, that Goon is dead. And I was like, Leguizamo, no! But it's okay, folks. Leguizamo made it.
I was
relieved.
I was actually worried because I had not seen this movie before, and I said, do not kill him. Please do not kill him.
I was so happy. I said, yay, Goon. Until then, Goon said, who's your daddy?
Goon's your daddy.
Goon's your daddy. I'm like, okay, Goon, let's dial it back a bit there, pal.
That is 1000% a studio input on the script, by the way.
All I can imagine. If you haven't seen the movie, okay, Goon is maybe 4 feet tall with big glasses, turtley looking guy.
He kind of looks like that fucking guy from the He-Man cartoon. What's his name? The little thing that I don't know the name of it. Orko?
Orko?
Yeah.
Orko doesn't really look like anything.
No, not look like him, but he's just that
he's
idea.
He's got that innocence about him, right?
Yeah.
I think if anybody's ever played any of the Sly Cooper games, he kind of looks like the turtle guy who works as your tech dude. But when he says this, you immediately think, "Oh my god, he's also a sexual being."
Yeah, dude.
Goon fucks.
Goon fucks.
And I feel that at getting close to the height of climax, he would say, Goon's your daddy.
Oh
Goon,
God.
Goon's your daddy.
Well, I feel that at least Goon maybe sticks to his own species, unlike Tank Girl, where she fucked kangaroos.
Okay. That's fair, I guess. But I mean, what are you gonna do? It's Port in a Storm. It's the post-apocalyptic era, and what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You gonna bang Malcolm McDowell? I don't think so. He's got a hologram head.
I mean, I don't think I could bang a quasi kangaroo person. Sorry, man. I don't know if I could do it. Where do I put it? Does it go in your pouch? I don't know.
They're crossbred with kangaroo DNA.
But
What are
who
they
knows
full?
what's
Are
what
they
though?
right?
Do they have dicks?
They have Cleo. I mean, are
Do
they
they have like
marsupials?
I don't know what marsupials have. Guys, let us know in the chat.
In the chat? Jesus, this isn't live.
What? Why am I doing this then? Let us know on Twitter. What do kangaroo dicks look like? And I want pictures. Anyways,
I think if anybody in our listening audience would know, it would be Izzy.
Yeah.
And you should prepare yourself for pictures.
Izzy, show me some kangaroo dick now.
Hashtag kangaroo dong.
Tommy kangaroo down. What? Okay.
Anyway. Tommy kangaroo dong. Boy, Tommy.
Oh, we're still talking about kangaroo dongs. It's been like weeks since Tank Girl. Anyway,
right.
So, the dredge are starting to retreat because they start shooting at them. Goon is helping, and Corso has like a change of heart. He's like,
well, because he's been double crossed.
Yeah, and he's like, maybe I need to be a good guy.
So, all right. So Kale and Akima they've figured out how to get Titan to work and to start terraforming and make a new or a new planet.
Yeah.
With all of these, DNA samples that they have that are stored in this DNA vault. But one of the connectors isn't working. So during what Kale goes to try to fix it, Corso shows up. That's when we have that weird double cross thing, the triple cross, I guess, at this point.
Yeah.
And Corso is like, no, I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna take care of it. You go back, put on the ring, and start this thing up. And they're having this whole exchange that made me note, come on, Matt Damon, just tell Bill Pullman that you love him, just like Ben Affleck did to Bruce Willis in Armageddon. It's the same goddamn scene.
I literally wrote down Corso is totally Bruce Willis Armageddoning Kale.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting that it's Matt Damon. It's a Matt Damon, Ben Affleck.
Oh shit!
Yeah, right.
Guys, our older actors have sacrificed their lives for both Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Bill Pullman and Bruce Willis are fucking heroes.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, we failed to say why that they're going about this, because Kale has come up with this ingenious plan where he is going to use the dredge to power Titan after Earth. Because the dredge are energy. They're energy beings. Their ships are energy. They themselves are energy beings. And they're going to use he's going to channel the energy from the dredge into kickstarting the generators for Titan after Earth to make this new planet. This all absolutely comes to fruition, and he races back to the command center just in time to place the ring onto the post, and the dredge, who, if they had just left well enough alone back in 3028, if they had just left well enough alone, none of this would have happened. Their species would have apparently continued. Their queen would not have died. But no, they couldn't leave well enough alone. They couldn't just be like, you know what? We're just going to let the humans do their own thing. And if they get out of control, then we'll take care of them. No. Let's not take care of them because we're afraid of what they're going to become. Let's leave them to their own devices. And if things start going south, then we'll step in. No. If they had done that, they would have been fine. But they didn't. And now they're all dead.
Nathan was doing that rant. He had his pen in his hand as if he was doing like not as horrible as this person, but it was like an Alex Jones rant.
I didn't tear my shirt off or talk
No.
about gay frogs.
Revealing a sweater underneath.
Right.
Yeah.
So they've managed. Yeah, they've
Strong
managed to
opinion about the dredge.
Well, you know what? They should have just left shit alone.
They're taking
You know
all
what
their
they
jobs.
say? Don't start nothing, won't be nothing.
That's right. That's what Will Smith
Or,
said
you
in
know
Men
what?
in Black.
Fuck around and find out. I'm just okay. Okay. They've defeated the dredge.
Corso
and
sacrifices himself.
He does, and this kickstarts the Titan After Earth, and apparently, just it starts drawing in all the matter that is in and around, like the ice shield and all the stuff that was there to protect the Titan After Earth, and makes a planet. Like physically manifests a planet that it has breathable oxygen and water and a terrible CG. Like fucking the worst in the entire movie is these last shots of this new planet, which Kale affectionately calls Bob.
He wants to call it Planet Bob, and then Akima is like, "This is why we need more female politicians." Essentially, maybe not certain specific ones, but for the most part. Wait, how could you say that about Kristen Sinema? She is definitely 100% a Democrat. It's on her. It's on her nameplate.
Hey, you know what? Fucking. Fuck was the name of that dude?
I know
Zell Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. That's Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. We're not even American, and we're pissing and moaning about American Democrats.
Well,
that's the world we live in, folks. The Canadians are so upset now, so upset.
Those two in particular, because I feel like they're just in disguise.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wants to call Bob. Drew Barrymore is like, ha ha ha, that's stupid, in like the nicest way. They're about to kiss, but then they get cock-blocked by the image of Goon and Janeane Garofalo just flying through space saying hello, and they don't get to kiss. No animated kiss for you. And then Nathan, I want to mention the very last shot is the ships. We see the ships transporting people onto New Earth, and in the window you can see that kid that played soccer and his older sister. But that's it.
Pele's kids. Yeah.
But that's it. Like, I don't understand. Was that so that we would see them later and be like, oh, those guys, I remember them?
Yeah. So you can see like hope springs eternal.
Yay.
Yeah. And then we're greeted with the 3044 AD dash 16 AE.
Oh.
16 years after Earth.
AKA Planet Bob.
Right. New Earth. Planet Bob.
Yep.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna say? Because it doesn't have new attached to it, Bob is a way better name. Because you came up with something original. I mean,
yeah. True.
I'm just saying.
Sure.
Take that, New York, New Jersey, New Mexico,
New Brunswick.
New Brunswick, putting you all on blast. You couldn't come up with original names?
No, this is it feels like someone telling
especially New Brunswick, because it used to be Nova Scotia, which is New Scotland. I mean, you couldn't come up with an original name. I'm tearing my shirt off and gay frogs.
No, he's come full circle. It just feels like it sounds like someone telling a bad lie. It's like, wait, aren't I in Mexico? No, you're in New Mexico. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Hold the phone, Charlie. There's a New Mexico. every time I hear them.
So is that Titan A.E?
That's Titan A.E, man. And so I'm going to ask you, man, is this worth a watch? A drunk watch with friends? Are you going to attempt head trauma to forget it? Or is you going to just avoid it like the plague?
You know, we had fun talking about this one. We kind of poked fun at the CGI. We talked about the beauty of the Don Bluth animation. I think the voice performances are actually pretty fun for the most part. I actually kind of think this is worth a watch. I kind of enjoyed watching it, as dumb as silly as some of it is. Yeah, I'm going to say it's worth a watch.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I'm actually going to say the same, because despite how I don't feel that the CG necessarily holds up. Everything else in the movie is still really fun. So
Yeah.
thanks, Lindsay. I mean, this was actually kind of enjoyable compared to some of the other things that we've covered for listeners' choice.
Yeah, like make no mistake, this is not like a perfect movie.
No,
But
but it's fun and worth it.
it's fun, and I think they do a better job than Tron Legacy, which I mean, I did kind of enjoy that movie, but like I think they do a better job of that than that movie of using like weird terms for things and not giving us like 10 hours of exposition. There are a couple of exposition dumps, but not as egregious as that movie.
Yeah, and there's even stuff that they kind of like just they gloss over and they don't even explain, like
Yeah.
who are the Dredge necessarily. I mean, w- uh, you just accept the idea that in 3028 that we're just chilling with aliens like tech,
Yeah.
and that's it. I mean, we've obviously made contacts with aliens and we're cool with most of them except for the Dredge, who are apparently made of terrible CG and want to destroy us.
And come out with Titan A.E. 2 starring Janeane Garofalo and John Leguizamo. I want a buddy cop movie with those two right now.
Oh my god, come on. You know what? Disney Plus, give me a limited series. I mean, you finished with Moon Knight. We got the book of Obi-Wan. You know what? Just put the Star Wars cinematic and just put it on the side, on the back burner.
Give me my Obi-Wan series though first.
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay.
But I mean, Goon and Stealth. I want to see that.
Do it. Let's do it. Let's make it live action. I want to see John Leguizamo in a little costume.
In a little turtle-looking costume.
And I want to see him like Gary Oldman style, just like walking around on his knees.
Oh my god. Anyhow, not crumpling the notes. This movie was fun, and we're gonna frame that right next to Tank Girl. Putting that over there. All right. You know what? Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Don't touch that dial because apparently things have dials. We'll be right back.
What were they thinking?
HomeSense gives you the freedom to get what you love because you don't have to sacrifice quality for price. Discover great finds for the entire home, like big deals on big mirrors for the entryway, tiny prices on accent furniture, or cast iron pots from just $30. Endless possibilities, perfectly priced, only at HomeSense.
This episode is brought to you by Bumble. Bumble is a dating and connections app that's built on kindness and respect. It's also all about helping you find what you're looking for, no matter what that is. Whether it's someone who loves to hate all the same things as you, someone who's down for that casual coffee to turn into an all-day date, or someone to be your plus one for all those upcoming plans. They're all on Bumble. Just make sure to look for people's interest badges on their profile. That'll let you know what they're into and how they spend their time. Then dive deeper by checking out their bio. Find what you're looking for and download the Bumble app today.
NPR bot, please initiate.
Beep boop beep boop borp. And we're back.
We are. Yes, we are. We are back. Thank you, NPR bot. I really appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Would you like me to stick around for integration back into non-NPR later?
Please do, as it does not hurt anywhere near as much as it used to. You are one of the greatest inventions in the history of mankind.
Standing by.
Thank you. All right, Brendan, it's now time to wax a little poetical about
and our
this.
chest hair. Yeah.
Right. And and possibly our nether regions, any of the spots that we didn't get with the manscape. It's time for the low haiku. Brennan, would you be so kind as to explain to the folks, in case this might be their first episode listening to us, as to exactly what the low haiku is?
Certainly. Well, the low haiku entails 17 syllables to describe the movie we just talked about for a while.
Okay. Okay. And as I welcome everyone back from the break, I will defer to you. How would you like to start off with the low haiku?
I would, thank you. Oh no, PlayStation. Look out, Timon and Pullman. Matt Damon haircut.
Very good. Very. I feel like you encapsulate a lot of the feeling of this film.
Thank you. Nathan, would you like to encapsulate some of the feeling of this film?
Well, I'm going to read the low haiku that I've written. But I do feel that our general praise for this film might not necessarily reflect what I wrote before we had the episode. But please do bear with me.
Okay. Okay.
There's only 3 words to describe our episode: Attack on Titan. Thank you.
Yes, very good.
Very good. Okay. And oh no! Stop, Brendan. Come, Brendan. Don't hurt yourself.
Oh.
NPR bot, please initiate exit protocol.
Beep boop blop 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 blop. Thank you.
Oh, see, you see.
Yeah,
it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
We don't have to do early morning DJ voices. It's great. It's great.
It helps
I will say that NPR bot, easily some of Milos's best work.
Yeah, good job, Milos.
And Borshti, because I know you help, buddy. Oh, we are glad to help any way we can. Now, as I was saying, a Serbian film.
Nope.
No. It's a bad Milos.
But we brought copy for everyone. No,
don't put it in the fire. Put it in the fire. Kill it with fire.
Yes, put it in our fire, our studio fire. Put it in there. That's why we get you to make a fire every time, just in case you do that, which is almost every week.
I'm so glad we installed that fireplace. It makes the podcast cozier.
It does. Yeah. Even when it's 30 degrees outside, I still enjoy it.
Right. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's not just the heat. It's that the scent of the burning wood. But it's so nice, and it really makes you. Anyhow, I digress. We've had our say about Titan A.E, and actually, we were pretty complimentary in regards to it. But you know what? It might not be your taste. Maybe it is your taste. Maybe you're in line with us. I don't know. You know what? So much so that we actually have a rather well-known saying that we have around the studio here for us, and not only with us, but with all of our audience. And what is that super well-known, put it on a t-shirt saying that we have, Brendan?
Well, that saying in question is...
Don't take a word for us!
That's right. Don't take our word for it. Brendan, this thing here had a big production. It had Matt Damon and Janeane Garofalo and Drew Barrymore and a whole host of others. Huge. I mean, for an animation film, huge budget. The critics must have been over the moon about this non-Disney entry.
Well, I just want to say, too, I think huge budget for any film. 90 million is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, especially a cartoon.
Especially in 2000.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, Nathan, that critics were not overly negative, but they were not overly positive either. It's split right down the middle. 50% liked it, and 50% didn't.
Okay. But I mean, audiences. I mean, most audiences they want a more sophisticated, mature affair. They wouldn't have any sort of dalliances with animated films unless it was specifically geared toward kids. They must have hated this thing.
They were more positive. It is borderline. I know, because there were females with lines in this movie, but the audience liked it on Rotten Tomatoes. Borderline fresh, 60%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I will tell you, Nathan, that if you like this movie, you may also like Superman 2, Superman 3.
Right.
Tron, weirdly enough, not when wasn't recommended when we talked about Tron Legacy, but all right. Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker, and last but not least, Batteries Not Included.
Can confirm on all of those.
I don't think I've seen Batteries Not Included, and if I have, I don't
Oh,
remember it.
little fun or interesting tidbit about Nathan. I got to see Batteries Not Included for free in theaters. I'm not quite sure how my mother wrangled it, but she managed to foist my brother and I off onto the cinemas one afternoon. She didn't pay for it. She got a clipping from the newspaper, the Evening Times Globe here in St. John, New Brunswick, and I got to see that movie for free. And I was just happy to go to the movies at that age, but I legitimately enjoyed that movie. It's a fun movie.
But maybe we should just find out what the critics are saying.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
Well, Stephen Hunter of the Washington Post, not a fan. He says it continually crashes and burns on its own banality. 1.5 out of 5.
Well, Bruce Westerbrook of the Houston Chronicle, he had a more positive review of it, and he wrote, "In a summer driven by wow factors, Titan A.E. has a galaxy's worth."
Oh, all right. My boy, Roger Ebert, the Chicago Sun-Times, you know him well.
Mhm.
He says, here's the animated space adventure I've been hoping for. 3.5 out of 4.
Kim Morgan of the Oregonian, she wrote, or they wrote, because Kim can be a guy's name. The result is an impressive array of themes, stories, and sequences that both computer imagery and often hand-painted animation do an effect that's better than many live-action films.
All right. More positivity. I'm gonna finish the critics. Well, I'm gonna do my last critics one with a negative one. Owen Gleiberman of Entertainment Weekly says Star Wars pulped and mashed into flavorless kitty corn. And he gave it a C.
Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna follow in the same vein. Jim Lane of the Sacramento News and Review didn't care much for it either, although it's kind of weird because he gave it 3 out of 5. Says, as in every film Don Bluth has ever made, Titan A.E. sets up expectations for dramatic payoffs that never come.
Every Don Bluth movie.
Oh, also false about this movie.
Yeah, the only thing that's promised that never pays off is that kid in the soccer ball.
Yeah, the Pele folks. Yeah, that's other than that, that's it.
Yeah, everything's pretty much followed up on. Well, I mean, let's take a look at the audience reviews where they put it through a grammar check. The spelling is up to par and everything is great, and none of this is going to be the ramblings of a lunatic.
Right.
I'll start off with Timothy M, who did not care for this movie, Nathan. He gave it 0.5 star. And he says, this movie treated bad priorities in the form of caring more about an object than countless lives as, quote, our only hope against villains who destroyed it for no good reason. And that's why it was the #1 all-time worst work of sci-fi for more than 17 years until the debut of STD. Star Trek Discovery?
Maybe.
I don't understand his review at all.
Sexually transmitted diseases? Because they premiered way before this movie.
I'll tell you one thing, Nathan. Sexually transmitted disease, that ain't no science fiction, baby.
Okay.
Wait, why did I try to sound cool saying that? Let's just say I've had some warts on my dick, okay? Ladies.
Just letting you know, grab some saran wrap and an elastic band.
Get this out of me.
My first one comes from Destiny K, and I can only assume that is the often overlooked forgotten sister Destiny Kardashian.
Yes.
And she writes, the animation is gorgeous, especially considering the time it was made in. The voice actors were great too. You could tell there were a lot of talented people working on this film. The only downside is the story. The movie isn't bad by any means. The visuals and voice acting are great. The story is okay. I wish the writing was a little better. The concept was good, an idea that they just didn't pull off. 3.5 out of stars.
Wow.
She sounded kind of scathing there, but ended up giving it 3.5 out of stars. That was weird.
She's pretty lenient with her star ratings. At the end, does it say like, P.S. Pete Davidson's fun to have around?
He's super nice in real life, just like you guys hope he is.
I don't doubt it. Whereas Kanye West is a piece of shit. Ray C. Can only assume he misspelled it R-A-E and it's Ray Charles. 5 stars. I love this movie. One of my favorites. I love the soundtrack. I remember watching this for the first time when I was little. No, you didn't. And just being so amazed by the CGI in this film. It's beautiful. I can only assume only Ray Charles could have written that review because there's no way he looked at the CGI and said that's beautiful.
It's funny he mentions the soundtrack because
it was terrible.
It's one of those. That's the thing. You say it's terrible. All Music, when they reviewed it, only gave it 2.5 out of stars. But I do know that there were people out there who legitimately bought this soundtrack. I remember seeing it in stores for sale, and about a year ago, I was at karaoke because I'm super fun and awesome to be around, and
it's that small dick thing again.
Right. There was a guy there that wasn't me, and he sang a song from Titan A.E. from the soundtrack. It was available on karaoke, and it was a song that meant something to him, and he sang it. I can't remember what the song was now at this point.
I'm just, and it's not even that I'm saying every song is horrible on its own. I just think it's not utilized very well in the movie.
I'll say this: if anybody was meant to be listening to the songs that were playing in this movie, it's awesome that they're super into classical music because those songs are over a century old, over a millennium old.
That's right, classic rock. You want to listen to some classic rock, some Backstreet Boys?
So it reminds me of that episode of Futurama where Fry was sitting around listening to Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Leela goes, "You know what, Fry? I'm not gonna hang out with you all night and listen to classical music because it's over a millennium old." Anyways, moving on.
Yes.
My next one comes from, I'm assuming, friend of the podcast, Ryan Gilbert, because it's Ryan G here on Rotten Tomatoes, and he writes, like Star Wars, minus the developed characters, special effects, interesting plot, or dramatic twist. It's funny that they named the main character Kale after a vegetable, because he's about as interesting as one. 2.5 out of stars.
I love how you went for an impression.
Jeez, Ryan, give them a break, would you, buddy? He's really catty when he gets the opportunity.
Sounds like, especially on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
This one,
Keyboard warrior.
This one is he's the most toxic person I've ever met. This one's funny just because it's, I don't know, it's really quick, but I just laughed at it. Hyatt N says Don Bluth at his best, 3 stars.
3 stars is his best. Come on, man. Okay, first of all, it's not Don Bluth at his best. I'm going to say that right
Troll
out.
in Central Park, I know.
Fuck off. Secret in Him is Don Bluth at his best.
Yeah.
But
Five goes
still,
west.
I think... Okay, that's pretty great. I'll give you that one.
I do like An American Tale, too. I'm not going to take away from that.
Right.
We're a duo. Okay.
All right, no, you're going to cost us $100. Knock it off. All right, so my next one actually comes from the often overlooked Kardashian brother Tim K.
Jeez, they
Tim
all posted.
Kardashian. I mean, it's a family affair, not unlike that sitcom. I think it's a sitcom that I never ever watched, but know that it exists. And he writes, "I've never felt as if this preteen masterpiece got the credit it deserved. But nearly 2 decades later, it still holds its own as one of the best animated sci-fi features ever made. 4.5 out of stars.
Jesus.
Yeah.
All right. Joseph W. This will be my last one, I think. Joseph W. gives this 4 out of stars. A really good sci-fi film, and anything that Joss Whedon writes is going to be awesome.
Oh, what?
It's supposed to be Joss Whedon. He was one of the writers, and he put Joss Whedon.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I
That's
saw
kinda
his
cool.
name, and I was like, but wait a second. Female characters talk in this movie, and they
But that
sound like
would explain
females.
the overly large feet on Janeane Garofalo's character.
Well, I didn't say Quentin Tarantino was a co-writer.
Wheaton's also a bit of a foot person too,
Yeah,
from
and
what I've
also
heard.
there's obviously we've heard there's worse things about him too. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, my
a
last one.
talented piece of shit.
There's a lot of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. A talented, abusive piece of shit. Okay, sorry, continue.
There's a lot of them.
Yes, there is.
My last one comes from Guido S, and I can only assume that's Father Guido Sarducci.
Oh, perfect.
And he writes, Don Bluth does a hand-drawn CGI mix that looks weird at times. An alien race are wiped out onto the Earth, and the remaining humans survive into space. Matt Damon's character is given the map to a safe haven to travel to in the event the alien assault, so he goes out to find it. Pretty standard CGI sci-fi stuff. The animation looks weird with both the CGI and the traditional methods. As both the same shot, it looks very weird. When it is just one of them, it looks fine, but the mix-up doesn't work. Otherwise, it's a pretty decent, it's very standard sci-fi stuff. A 3 out of stars. I met at the Pope.
Thank you, America. I just pictured him doing like an update commentary in the 70s, just doing a very straight-laced, no jokes review of a movie.
It's a pretty good.
It's like, oh, okay, I guess. Well, there you go.
There you go. That's it. That's that. We've had our say. The audience has had their say. The critics had their say. Everyone's had their say. That's how this sort of thing. We're a democracy here. What were they thinking? But now you have to listen to what we have to say, because now is the time of the episode where we partake in the dance sensation that's sweeping the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for What You Watching, Bud?
What you watching, bud? I don't know what you're watching, bud. I'll tell you so. Do 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 do.
So, Brennan, what you want, bud?
Well, I've been watching stuff. I recently
I said hi.
I recently traveled to the cinemas to watch a movie that I was very lucky that I got to catch while it was still in theaters. I think it might be out now, but definitely by the time you listen to this episode. But at the time of this recording, it might be not there anymore, or it might be like a week or two away from being out. But I finally went and saw The Northman, Robert Eggers' epic Viking tale of revenge.
You got to
And
see it before the alt-right took a hold of it. Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think they can. It's pretty clever. It's pretty clever in how they toss that whole like this guy's awesome because he's getting revenge. Like they toss that on its head a few times, pretty blatantly. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's got. I mean, The Northman. It's like I said, it's tale of Viking revenge. It's kind of like Robert Eggers, who did The Lighthouse, and he did The Witch or The Vivitch.
Vich.
This is probably his most straightforward movie he's made. So it's like him doing like a Hollywood blockbuster kind of, but with like a little bit less of a budget, but still a big budget for, what he was doing. Alexander Skarsgård is a fucking shredded maniac. He's awesome. And we get like little brief appearances from Ethan Hawke. Nicole Kidman is really good. Anya Taylor-Joy.
Crikey.
Yeah. Bjork makes a brief appearance.
Wow.
Surprisingly, because I remember when she been in one movie and it was with Lars von Trier. And Nathan, this may shock you, but she did not enjoy working with Lars von Trier.
What?
I know.
No.
I know.
Crazy.
Certainly it's her fault in that case.
Absolutely. Yeah, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be that fucking maniac.
But it's really good. And I will say that without spoiling anything, you think it's going a certain way. Something happens, surprised me in a good way. And it kind of questions the whole, like, who's the good guy here though, for real?
I was gonna say, so Vince Russo helped write it, but then you said it surprised me in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. There's nothing on a poll, and nobody turned heel for no reason.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's interesting what they do, and it kind of turns the whole like revenge kind of whose side am I really on here on its head a little bit, because as you know, Vikings were not great.
The best people.
Great people. Let's just say that. But it's really good. The Northman. Catch it in theaters if you can. But if not, just watch it at home. Be safe. Have some popcorn.
Yeah. Okay.
What about you, Nathan? What you watching, bud?
Well, I watched something, and I'm gonna preface it. I had a great time watching it. However, it did not have a huge budget. It was an anthology horror film called Watch If You Dare. And I checked it out on... I did dare. I'm a daring type person. I mean, Danger is my middle name.
Yeah.
Nathan Danger. Not saying my last name because
I think you said it.
You're not stealing my identity.
I've
said it a few times. Nathan Danger Spaveled. So you don't know my middle name, so you can't steal my identity because you think my middle name is Danger because it really is, but it's not. But it is. Anyhow, I watched a movie called Watch If You Dare, and I watched it on Tubi as an anthology flick. There's a lot of... It's a horror movie. There's some interesting body horror that's going on in it. So if that's your jam, I do recommend it. But if you also like to see people making a movie that is thoroughly entertaining with the money that they have available to them, not in a Neil Breen kind of way. These people, I feel like if they were given budget, they could do amazing things. The movie is really well. The segments are really well paced. There's some really good cinematic shots because it's a horror movie. There's some really good. There's a particular scene where it's set in a barber shop in one of them, and you get like that kind of, I don't know, that stark drip of blood onto like a white tiled floor. I mean, it gets used, but I mean, they do it really well. The movie is really fun to watch. There's parts in it where you're like, okay, come on, that's bordering on humorous, but it doesn't get so much so that you're like, okay, I can't take this seriously at all anymore. And I have 2 words for you: Knobgoblins. So check it out. Watch If You Dare on Tubi.
Isn't that an STD?
I thought it was the porn parody of the movie Hobgoblins, but
yeah,
wrong.
because the movie Hobgoblins was popular enough that they made a porn parody of it. Oh my god.
So that's it. That's what we're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go grab my friend of the green room. He's got some stuff that he wants to promote.
Okay,
so
and see if Montrose is there too.
That's who I'm talking about.
It's a misdirect.
It's awful. Switcheroo. Hello. It's your good friend Montrose Monkington III here, and I would just like to invite all of you folks over to my my YouTube channel, Montrose Monkington TV, where I'll be discussing some of the graps, the wrestling, if you will, and also if you enjoy that and you would like to be friends with me. You could be friends with me at the Facebook group Montrose Monkington III Esquire and Friends, and finally, if you just want to keep it nice and cash, as they say, and send me a tweet or a DM, does not mean dirty mouth, so stop it.
Don't slide into his dirty mouth.
Right, it means digital monkey because I'm a chimpanzee. You could. Yeah, right. It checks out.
Sure, yep, sure, yeah.
It does. You can do that on your Twitter devices at Montrose the Third. That's the number 3D. Thank you. More later. Yeah.
Thank you, Montrose.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that's it for us. So you can find us all over the webs. We're on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. We're on Facebook. Just search for us. What were they thinking? We're on all the podcast apps, but of course our home base is Age of Radio.
Big time.
You can go to ageofradio.org/what were they thinking. And we're also on Redbubble, TeePublic. Find us there. Just search for the name of the podcast. You'll find us. And we're also on patreon.com/WWTT podcast. You can sign up for some cool shit there. Bonus episodes, pick movies, be our guest, put our service to the test, whatever you want to do. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Next week,
did you tell them about our vests made of real gorilla chest?
We couldn't do that anymore because PETA came after us.
What about our loafers that were former Gophers?
Oh, absolutely not, they said.
Grizzly bear underwear?
That they were weirdly okay with.
Okay.
Yeah. It's good because it's comfortable.
Right?
Yeah,
fuzzy.
We don't kill more than 3 bears for one pair of underwear, so it's fine.
They're not in danger. They're fine.
They're mean. They'll be fine.
Oh, and they would murder you if they had the chance. Trust me.
Not the ones I'm friends with.
Those aren't grizzly bears, then.
Listen, just because they have stuffing in them. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. Nathan, we should just mention real quick, next week, we don't usually announce it, but because it's listener's choice, you all know what's coming up. So next week, we are talking about Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Is that going to be a 2-part episode?
Considering who we might have as our guest for that episode, I might have to split that up. But I will say that we are watching the regular length version. We are not watching the fucking 3-hour extravaganza or whatever that unrated bullshit was. So no, the regular
it's like 3 hours and some change for that extended version.
Just like we're not doing the Snyder cut, guys. I'm sorry.
Woo!
Theatrical cut of Batman versus Superman. Now somebody might pick it for listener's choice. I don't know. But yeah, we'll do that next week. And until then, I guess I just have questions about Titan A.E.
Well, you know what? As I said, I did see this on my CRTV, played on my PlayStation 2 that had wired controllers because that's the fucking dystopian past we lived in. I'll be more than glad to answer these questions. Fire away, my friend.
Okay, so in a movie, a movie in which Don Bluth sure loves to animate butts.
He does. He does.
In a movie in which all the characters look very different from the voice actors, except for Matt Damon, because you got to retain that floppy blonde haircut.
Right.
In a movie in which they are seemingly attacked by graphics out of a PlayStation 1 or 2 game.
Two.
Yeah.
PS1, it would have been super rough in this thing.
Yeah, very pixelated. And in a movie in which an entire subplot is introduced and dashed away at the drop of a hat. I guess. Yeah, I guess they couldn't get him at the last second. He pulled out of the movie. I guess I just have to...
Which I unfortunately didn't do with all the women he slept with.
Oh, zing. Take that, Pele. I guess I just have to ask, Nathan.
What's that?
Pele possibly having all those kids. What was he thinking?
I can tell we got an awful lot in common. Even though we look as different as can be, we don't even have to try to see things eye to eye. It just comes to us naturally. Come to think of it, I think we fit together. Playing cat and mouse won't get us very far. There's no need to feud and fuss when it isn't really us. Let's you and me be who we are. We're a duo, a pair of lonely ones who were meant to be a two. Oh, a duo, it's true. Oh, wherever we go, we're going, me and you. Oh, no matter what, now we've got one another. We'll be there to pick each other off the floor. Anytime you're feeling glum, count on me to be a chum.
If you get an itch attack, I'll be there to scratch your back.
Now, who could ever ask for more? Stop. No, don't stop. More. We're friends, and that's what friends are for. We're a duo, a pair of lonely ones who were meant to be a duo, a duo. It's true, if we're ever in a stew, we know we can make it through, 'cause you got me and I